Gundam.tk presents RG Freedom Gundam. Hey again everybody, it's Robert 184, 2Rs2Bs from YouTube and Gundam.tk, and you've seen the plates and the parts of the real grade Freedom, so let's put it all together now. And when he's all put together, you're certainly going to feel right away that this is a huge step up on the high grade, and if not a step up on the master grade. In terms of colors, everything's looking good. You can see the gray or the gold there on the back of the knees. The black trim on the side of the railguns looks good. There's so many details in the black and the red there. The fact that you're going to get the red in the shoulders, everything is looking sharp, although the one thing that really doesn't stand out compared to other real grades is just the shades of white/gray. He comes across as pretty monotone until you really get in there to take a close look. To see how this guy shines in terms of mobility, the front skirts are independent. You can bring the leg forward. The rail cannons are not going to move hardly at all there, so you're not going to get very much off to the side. But to remember that the knees are going to give you a very nice bend there over the 135, and the ankles, you should have no problem getting those around, especially with the fact that you can move all the toes that much. The upper body sees the waist rotate this much, and you can move it all over the place with the white and blue parts moving. The shoulders, you've got to be careful because if you move this too much, this whole shoulder is just going to pop right off, although you could rotate it all the way around if you chose to. Again, that will get in the way. So you can bring this arm all the way forward, which is incredibly impressive, and you'll notice that this black part up here is going to open, so you can bring the whole shoulder up, although be careful if you try to move it this much, this is what you're going to see. The elbow is going to give you that great bend, although this part is going to stick down, so pretty much as long as you're careful with the arms, they're going to go wherever you want. You just have to work a little bit to keep them actually attached. When you add the trademark blue wings, he's certainly going to fill out for width, and even though you're going to have to adjust the legs a little bit just to accommodate that weight that goes onto the back, their proportions look good. When he was just a Gundam with the wings on, he looks even better. You're going to have all sorts of posing angles so you can get those wings lined up just the way you want them. But everything from the colors to proportions looking fantastic. Compared to the Master Gundam, the Freedom is and should be a lot taller, although you can adjust the legs to get them in different places, and the wings are looking pretty sharp on both of these guys. The body's a lot skinnier overall than the Jesta, but in terms of height it's not that far off, and the wings gives him the edge in overall size. And it's hard to believe that the Freedom is almost 10 years old now when you see it next to the newest lead Gundam, the Age 1 in high grade, 1200 yen as opposed to 25, tons of great features in this, but of course there's almost twice as much in the Freedom. When you put the shield in, you're going to have to swap off the regular manipulator for the 3-finger trigger finger master grade kind of split, put it on in the back, and then you'll notice that it's going to get in the way of the shoulders ever so slightly, and of course the wings can bump into it. But in terms of moving it around, it's going to work really well, and that black peg that goes into the elbow is going to give you all sorts of flexibility when you're trying to move it. The beam rifle is going to work a lot better because it's got a peg down here on the grip, which is going to plug perfectly into the custom hand, which has that little part there just to make it look like it's shooting. Fully armed, you're going to have even more to offset the wings, and the beam rifle and shield certainly add a lot of color. It's great to see that blue strip there made out of plastic. The shield is a little bit awkward, more than I expected, just dealing with that shoulder, but otherwise, in terms of looks, it's all win. If you can make this out, I was just trying to have him look down the barrel of the beam rifle, but the arm was collapsing a little bit due to the weight, and actually, similar problems with the shield. It can fall down there on you. There are a lot of parts that you're going to have to move to get him into any pose whatsoever, but looking down the beam rifle doesn't look terrible, although that shoulder really does come across as being awkward sometimes. Bringing the weapons across the other way doesn't result in any weight problems, unlike what we just saw. Putting the beam saber in hand is easy to do because of the peg. This is the 3-finger trigger finger split here for the right hand. Unfortunately, the thumb, I had hardly even moved it, and it just decided to separate, which means that's an awfully expensive replacement, considering you have to order the whole B plate. Also unfortunate that even with the peg attaching in there, it's not all that solid, which means if you're going to be doing any poses like this, you may have gravity win and drop it out of the hand every once in a while. And not 1 second later as I go to replace the shield, then the thumb on this hand breaks off as well. The oversized beam sabers look great, although I'm just trying to do a little bit of experimentation opening up those wings there on the back, and that's going to result in a lot more weight issues when you're keeping them on the ground here, but it's still great to see how those beam sabers could cut through pretty much anybody that gets in Kira's way. Darth Maul style looks okay, and they're very easy to attach together. You can have the hand hold it either in the front or the back. The only thing is that I had to go here with the palm facing up just in order to hold it in, because if you do hang it upside down, especially with my missing thumb there, it's not going to have enough to grip it, and it is sort of bending like a high jumper's pole. The railguns move into position easily enough, and you can pop out the handles pretty easily and get the hands around them for the grip. The only thing being is that they're not going to have as much movement off to the side, so you're going to have a pretty limited angle that he can shoot at, which is pretty much straightforward. Getting the wings into position just means bringing these front two along with the white gun underneath, and then bringing these back two forward. Remember that these can all move separately as well. Wings open because they've got such a range of movement in pretty much every part. You can line them up at absolutely any angle, but this is certainly looking more powerful and more Freedom-like every time. When moving the wings though, these parts are really loose, and this one in fact can just fall right off. I'm going to call this pose the old school 1/60th non-grade pose because this was pretty much all it could do. The railguns look good, the white cannons coming forward look pretty good. The V-fin does tend to get in the way a little bit, but you can see that those blue parts are collapsing and these wings can spread out, so you're going to have to be a little bit careful to keep them nice and symmetrical. That is a lot of firepower though for somebody who looks that sleek at the moment. This is the pose though that I've been waiting for. It was great to see the Master Grade do it. You're going to have some of the same issues though. Getting these two guns up here lined up just right can be a little bit tricky because there's a lot of moving parts that get them there. But the wings fully deployed like this, outside of the fact that sometimes they don't want to stay together, it certainly looks impressive, and it's hard to believe there's still an additional mode. Not difficult at all to accomplish because all you have to do is split that dark blue from the regular blue, and then you're going to have what seems to be 7 fins on each side. And with the camera in close, I think it looks pretty sharp. And from a distance, even more so. The action base that comes with the Nobel Gundam isn't going to work with this custom attachment point, so you're going to need a real action base too, but you know that the Freedom would look even better up in the air. And with the beam rifle and shield in place, all you need to do is add 5 colorful lines coming out of this guy, and yes, nobody from any side in the war could get in this guy's way. It certainly is an ambitious model, and it's got lots of good and bad points, so stay tuned for the next part where I'll have the verdict and everything in one place. But in the meantime, please let me know what you think of the MS with a comment down below. Always great to hear from you. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already. See you next time, everybody. Bye.